Breaking news, we're talking about the one, the only, the iconic, I'll just say my fucking elbow. Do you guys remember Johnny Somali? This is Johnny Somali. Oh wait, wrong picture. This is Johnny Somali. Now, this is someone that I've covered months ago, if not years ago, okay? It's been like 5, 6, 7, 8 months since the last time I talked about Mr. Somali. The last thing that I remember from him was him being in Korea and actually going to court. Like, this guy completely fucked around and found out. Now, the situation has quickly been picking up traction again, and it truly does look like his life is over. I think it is a lot more likely that I am the new president of the United States of America tomorrow than Johnny Somali being innocent and being freed from this whole situation. The YouTuber Legal Mindset recently made this video about the disaster that is the Johnny Somali trial. We are here to cover it. I am very much looking forward to this video. Don't forget to check out the Patreon, link in the description and in the pinned comment. And with that said, let's just get right into it.
Ismail, aka Johnny Somali, had a disastrous day in court today where pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong. There were some surprises, some twists, and we had some updates after my coverage to bring you today. Some extra information, some extra, a little extra spice to make it even worse. And of course, we're going to cover this all on the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American.
God bless the legal system for once. It is actually working. I know that it's not the American legal system, but you know what I mean. I am so glad Korea had enough. They're making an example out of him. And once again, I am surprised that Japan didn't do this. I would have loved if Japan made an example out of this very low IQ individual. I think it's time. And it low-key brings a tear to my eye knowing that this disgusting creature, because he's not even the person, this guy is disgusting. This guy used Deepfake and AI to do weird things. I've covered the situations here, guys. Not as heavily as other YouTubers, but what I know and what I've covered obviously disgusts me. That's not even me talking about the people that he's harassed, the women that he's harassed, the elderly men and women that he's verbally and physically harassed. I remember the day he got beat up in Korea, I believe. It was such a good day. I believe I went out and got boba. I got like strawberry boba to celebrate this guy's downfall. I was like, yeah, time to make a video and then time to get some boba. This is a moment worth celebrating.
Now, pre-trial, this is in Seoul, South Korea, same courtroom, same place. It was a rainy day. The courtroom was packed. This Korean media was there. The Somali conviction team was there. Hank was there. There was also a kick streamer there to watch it as well. Of course, nobody allowed to do video or audio from the courtroom. However, we did give you live play-by-plays because there are ways to do that. Ramsey Somali was late by a few minutes. Hank and Ramsey's lawyer went to find him. So Hank went out to find him. Ramsey's lawyer went out to find him. Eventually, they did find him. When he came in, he was dressed in a suit. He had a nice buzz cut. You're going to see photos of him later, but he looked gaunt. He looked thin. He had deep circles around his eyes. It was described that his deep circles had circles. He also was resigned. He did not make faces. He didn't look around at the crowd. He didn't stick out his tongue like he did in previous engagements, previous court dates. So he had a huge attitude shift going forward into this date.
Because he knows he's cooked. He knows he's completely fucked. This guy is not going to be walking free as he thought, and deserved. Once again, I don't want to sound repetitive, but I am so glad South Korea is making an example out of him. Honestly, if I was South Korea, I would have been like, let's just send him to North Korea. Let's just send this fucking guy in a rocket and leave him there. I mean, in my opinion, it's a little bit too late, which is funny because I'm always like, oh, this is better late than never, right? But in this situation, nah, Mr. Somali, it is way too late to get a nice little haircut, look fresh, look sharp, and be polite, and not fuck with the people. I mean, it's over. He knows it's over. His lawyer knows it's over. It's just a waiting game now to see how much time he's gonna get, to see the punishment. I don't feel an ounce of empathy. Truth be told, even if I turn 32, I don't think I'm gonna look back and be like, man, I was a little mean on Mr. Johnny Somali. And I truly do hope that by that time, he's still in prison. He should get 5 to 10 years. I mean, I could come on here and count everything he's done and said, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know exactly what he's done villain said to get in this situation. It's too late. It's too late to feel bad. It's too late for regrets. It's too late to be like, oh, judge, I am so sorry. I had no idea what I was doing. When you clearly didn't know what you were doing. You were a grown-ass man. It's not like you were 16 acting like that. You were in your 20s acting like that. So, I don't know. In my opinion, there's no excuse for that. I don't know, man. Skill issue. Cope, Johnny Somali. I'm wishing you nothing but the worst. And I don't care if people say that's rude or have no empathy. People like him need to be treated like this.
Right now, we're going to get into the next part, which was a disaster, which was Ramsey's lawyer. Now, this is not to say he's incompetent or there's anything in terms of skill. Once again, as a lawyer, even if you're an amazing lawyer, you can be handed a bad case. The other thing that's going on here is if the client tells you to argue something, you kind of have to argue it, even if you don't want to. So if the client says, hey, I want to plead not guilty, but you don't really have any evidence, you don't have any backup, the argument really doesn't work, well, you have to go with that. And even a really good lawyer, even an amazing lawyer, can kind of be put in a bad place. And I kind of feel bad for Ramsey's attorney because it's very clear that Johnny and his, fools on Discord, etc., are feeding these arguments in that just do not work in court. They're not Korean lawyers. They don't know Korean law. Johnny's not a Korean lawyer, but he's trying to force these arguments that just don't work in the Korean system.
Sorry, this is too funny. Taking advice from the Johnny Somali Discord server is the funniest way to get like an extra 20 to 30 years. Oh my God. If this was my lawyer, I would be crying. Like, yo, dude, I'm paying you all this fucking money. I don't know if Johnny Somali even has money, but let's assume he does. I'm paying you all of this money, and you're taking advice from Discord members. And this is not like the lawyer's Discord server. This is like fucking the Johnny Somali Discord server. You know that that place is worse than hell. You know that that place, I don't even think Hitler would enjoy being in a place like that. That is a place where no human shall go to. I'm scared just thinking about it. Alright? I have no words for it. I have no words for it. I never expected a lawyer to move this way. And it's like, sure, you could feel bad, but why take on the case in the first place when the case is this complicated? Now, maybe I missed some lore and the lawyer's in debt and he thought he was gonna get an easy bag or something. I don't know. But this is tough. Sure, I feel bad for the lawyer, but at the same time, you took this case. So, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I'm just a silly little YouTuber with hopes and dreams of getting rich and moving in with iDubbbz and Hassan Piker. But we're not here to talk about them. We already did. So, now we can move on. But taking advice from Discord members who don't know anything, okay? It's something that Saul Goodman wouldn't even do.
And it led to a lot of losses today. Loss after loss after loss. There was not a single win, even procedurally, even small victories for the Somali team. So let's talk about that. So right off the bat, the first thing in the hearing was the judge asked Ramsey's lawyer for any specific evidence on the crimes Ramsey pled not guilty to. So specifically the deepfakes. We're talking about the deepfakes for which he pled not guilty. So the judge says, hey, what evidence do you have? And the lawyer was completely flustered by this. He could not answer. He said, hey, we submitted that to the court, so, you should have that, right? But he couldn't, when pressed, give any of the information, any defense at all. He couldn't remember any specifics. That's not good. Now, what may have happened here is Johnny may have had this packet of information, perhaps the dossier prepared by his Discord, which was submitted to the judge or submitted to the court. However, didn't really memorize that, didn't really go through it. Maybe he's busy, maybe didn't have time, maybe didn't understand it. Who knows? We don't know what's going on, but that was a very bad look and did not look good in court.
I'm going to give some lawyer advice to Mr. Somali. I don't know if he's watching, but if you are Mr. Somali, just give up and take the L. All right, that's all you can do at this point. There's no saving you, little bro. Saul Goodman and Jesus Christ could be in the court with you and they wouldn't be able to get you out. Even Diddy's lawyer couldn't get you out of this one, and he might potentially free Diddy. I don't know about this one, Chief. It's not looking too good. Not to sound redundant once again, but it's actually kind of insane how fucking over it is for this guy. Like, there is no coming back at all. His YouTube career is dead. His Kick career is dead. Not on Twitch, not on Twitter, not on... I don't even think Fortune would take him. That's how over it is for this guy. This guy will most likely spend a few years in prison, and rightfully so, I don't feel bad. But it's like, what a waste of human life. You know what I mean? You have one shot at life, and this is what you decide to do with it. You're not making money. You're not getting big epic numbers. You're just an embarrassment. You are a laughingstock, dude. Like, there's no redeeming qualities about you. You are cooked.
Beyond that, Ramsey's lawyer tried to complain about late notice and procedure, and he tried to kind of make it sound like the prosecution was doing something bad or untoward or unofficial or breaking the rules. And now the prosecutor, and I have been in this courtroom, I've seen the prosecutor. The prosecutor looks like a very nice, mild-mannered, calm guy. I watched him an entire day in court cases. I sat in another day and watched like 6, 7 trials. This guy never was aggressive. He never got angry, was very calm and collected, very professional. But all the reports from the courtroom today, and I went over several after the stream, I asked several sources, I said, hey, was this what happened? And they said, yes. He aggressively countered Ramsey's lawyer in a way in which is not typical for a prosecutor to normally do. Pretty much, Ramsey's lawyer was saying, hey, you're doing something wrong. And the prosecutor got up and said, oh, hell no. And excuse my language, or I'll put some in the swear jar, but said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. All notice we gave was proper. Everything was legal. We followed the procedure. And the judge quickly stepped in and took the side of the prosecutor, not Ramsey's lawyer, overruled Ramsey's lawyer and said verbatim, this is not an issue, move on. So absolute procedural L, massive procedural L for Ramsey's lawyer.
This kind of reminds me when we all had a nice teacher in school, whether that was elementary or middle school, and there's this fucking annoying ass guy who made them cry. When most of the time, 99% of the time, they're positive, they're joking, they're like the cool teacher. But then there's always this fucking fat, annoying kid who eats boogers and eats glue, who sets the teacher off, and then they make them upset, and then they make them cry. Well, maybe not cry, but you know what I mean. Like, it kind of tense, it kind of like fucks with their mood. And they think that's so cool, that's so epic. It's like, nah, dude, you just made the nice, cool, lit teacher cry or feel bad or hurt his feelings. That's the same vibes that I'm getting here. Prosecutor was nice, chill, with some authority, of course. You can't be like, oh, you gotta have some authority, and you can have authority and be nice at the same time. You know what kind of individual and how fucking disgusting you need to be in order to make that type of person upset at you and low-key scream at you when all the 6, 7, 8 times he's done that, according to Legal Mindset, he wasn't acting like that. He was polite, well-mannered. You legitimately made him crash out. You and your stupidity and your stupid team. So congrats. Hope you're proud of that. I don't even know the fucking prosecutor in Korea, but I want to give him a hug. He seems like, I mean, if he could tolerate a lot of BS and he can't tolerate you, that says a lot about Johnny Somali and his lawyer and his stupid ass team. So base prosecutor, base lawyer, and take that L, Ramsey and the lawyer. I'm just gonna stop myself right there because I almost went too far. It almost had to become a Patreon exclusive. Link in the description below, by the way.
Going beyond that, there was the new charge, the charge of the additional obstruction. That's once again, the fourth charge, the fourth obstruction charge that was coming up. It was revealed that this new charge, was for conduct on 2 Seoul buses on September 27, 2024. Now, this was for, they stated stuff like playing loud music and TTS and playing North Korean propaganda. Now, mind you, he is not charged under the terrorism statute, under the terrorism law. He's still charged under obstruction of business. So it doesn't change the nature and make him guilty of terrorism. However, it does conclude that they were factoring in the fact that he was playing North Korean propaganda. They know, and they were listening to that. It says that disturbed the passengers, it disrupted operations, and ultimately for a obstruction of business, if you disturb normal operations of business, you are guilty. So therefore, Ramsey knew he was dead to rights on this and pled guilty to this new obstruction charge. So once again, another guilty in the bucket. Now we're going to talk about the other things that he pled guilty to. So previously, Ramsey had pled not guilty to the Lotte World charge. That is going into Lotte World, causing a scene, disrupting the ride, causing the ride to close. So we had a huge surprise today. We thought the witness for today was going to be Bong Bong. Everybody thought that, myself included. And you know what? I was wrong. Look at that. I'm admitting I was wrong here. It was actually the witness that was a staff woman from Lotte World, who repeatedly told Ramsey not to film. She was actually quite disturbed by the fact that he would not stop filming. And you could see that in the video, in the original video. I've reviewed that video. I'm not going to show her because I don't want to put her face out there and make it, put any pressure on or anything else. But you can see in her face that she was not happy about it. And she showed up. And Ramsey changed his plea to guilty on the Lotte World charge. He may have been gambling that the Lotte World witness would no show. and saying, okay, if the witness no shows, then okay, we can go with not guilty because she's going to no show and not be there. However, she showed up and was highly motivated to be there.
That lady, that woman deserves a fucking round of applause for showing up, because people have jobs. They have shit to do. Even if you don't have a job, you're going to school, there's always something to do. And the fact that this woman took time out of her busy day to show up to court and be like, I felt uncomfortable, he did this, he did that, I told him to stop and he just kept going, yada yada yada, and that made him plead guilty. This is what, his 6th or 7th charge, guys. He's not getting a month. All right, let's just be honest with ourselves. We prayed on his downfall, and it's finally here. This is his 6th time pleading guilty. He has a total of 6 charges, and these are not alleged, these are confirmed guilty: obstruction of business 4, and minor offensive acts 2. Hopefully we could get to 10. Let's make the goal for the charges to be 10, guys. Only 4 more to go. It is Johnny Somali, so anything is possible, I guess.
So big shout out to Lotte World. Big shout out for filing this charge. This is one that a lot of members of the SC team, my team, worked really, really hard to see if we can get pressed, to see if we can get in there. And big shout out to the people that helped out, especially people like Bang TV and the others in Korea that really helped press this charge. So because he changed his plea from guilty to not guilty, he now has 6, count it, 6 confirmed guilty charges.
As my friend Ludwig would say,
Let's up those numbers!
4 obstruction of business and 2 minor crimes act. So he is a confirmed repeat offender, repeat criminal with all of these. And once again, each charge stacks up the amount of time he can be in jail. At this point, the maximum is 12 years. However, even the default, even the standard punishment would be over 4 years in jail. Even if they don't give him the aggravated maximum of 12 years, the standard, the non-aggravated, is 4 years and some change in terms of months. So
yes, bare minimum 4 years. I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable for someone, once again, like Johnny Somali. If he gets 12 years or more, holy shit, give him 60 years. I don't know. Okay, maybe that's a bit too far. People could change, but at the same time, it's Johnny Somali, so do I really care if he spends life in prison? Nah. Not really. I'm just glad, regardless if it's 1, 4, or 12 years or more, I'm just glad they're making an example out of him. So this stops idiots from going to Japan, Korea, or other places and causing chaos, because hopefully now they know that if they fuck around, they're gonna find out and they're gonna be cooked. You know, no tears will be shed. If anything, we're gonna be celebrating. All right, everyone's invited to my house. I'm gonna book an Airbnb, and everyone who wants to come will be invited to the Johnny Somali watch party when we finally get a verdict and we finally find out how much time he's actually getting.
even not counting the deepfakes, this is very, very serious. Now, one important thing is Ramsey's lawyer seems to think obstruction and all this is a joke. He actually was scoffing and laughing, etc., when they were talking about obstruction, like, oh, it's not a big deal. This is a big deal, and people have gone to jail for years in Korea for this. Absolutely. So now we have it here, like we said, 4 guilty for the obstruction of business, guilty on the Minor Crimes Act, and not guilty on the deepfake. These are his pleas. Of course, he's going to have to fight this at the next trial, and I do believe there's sufficient evidence to find him guilty on the deepfake counts. We're going to
up to 5 years imprisonment or fine up to 50 million won. Bro's going to have to participate in Squid Games to get out of debt. Holy shit. Johnny Somali's going to be in fucking Squid Game season 4. He's going to be in the American version of Squid Game. Holy.
talk about that next. But now we know the 4th count is for the bus North Korean propaganda, the loud music. So we know what's going on here. So he's kind of got 2 obstructions for the bus, one for Lotte World and one for 7-Eleven. This is not just about a cup of noodles, folks. This is much more than a cup of noodles. Going on, let's talk about the deepfakes. And the deepfake is the crime that Johnny Somali fears the most. He's scared to death because this is one that absolutely carries prison time right off the bat. The statute will not allow for fines. It's straight to prison, no other option. Now, the deepfake was a disaster for Johnny's defense. They pretty much confessed. Let's talk about this. So Ramsey's lawyer argued that Ramsey doesn't know how to make a deepfake, that he is incompetent to make a deepfake, which, look, we all know that's BS. It takes 2 seconds to make a deepfake. There's AI, there's other mechanisms. Anybody can make a deepfake, and Ramsey is certainly capable of it. But beyond that, that's what the lawyer said makes him innocent. The lawyer said he didn't make it, so because he didn't make it, he's innocent. But the prosecutor immediately countered, once again, getting up there, getting in their face. Great job by the prosecution. Amazing performance. Said, so you deny making the deepfake, but you admit, you confess to distributing, which is publishing the deepfake. Ramsey's lawyer said, well, he was drunk. He admits distribution, but denies production. So saying he confesses that he distributed, but denies production. First of all, there is no I was drunk defense in the statute. Being drunk or high or whatever is not a defense. It's did you do it or not? There's no state of mind involved here. So being drunk is not at all going to mitigate this or make this better or make him not guilty. That is not going to work at all.
That is legitimately the worst excuse possible. Oh, I was drunk and I had no idea what I was distributing. Yeah, guys, I don't make CP, but I distribute it, so I'm not guilty, right? You were so fucking cooked. Oh my god. Well, he was drunk. He admits distribution, but denies production. It's over. It is over. This is like watching a car crash. You don't want to look, but at the same time, you kind of want to record and look at it in 4K 60 FPS. But holy shit. I mean, at this point, just be like, yeah, 20 years. Case closed. Case shut. This is so bad. If this was my lawyer, I would just be like, dog, I'll just represent myself here. I mean, at that point, it's better. I'll just take over, dude. I'm gonna stop paying you. You're just making everything worse. I'll take care of it myself. I'm gonna go Saul Goodman season 6 self, defending myself. So he admitted to sending this and to the production and to the distribution. Oh, officer, yes, I do have all of this illegal and disgusting material on my phone, stuff that could get me in jail, but I didn't make it. I just distributed it. I just sent it to people, but I didn't take the picture, didn't make it, so I'm innocent. Nah, bro, you're cooked. You're finished, dude. Fucking hell.
The bombshell admission is the admission of guilt as to production. It's not relevant. The only thing that's relevant is that Ramsey distributed or published it, meaning whether or not Ramsey made it is irrelevant. And just to prove that, let's look at the statute here. Now, I know this language is small. This is the full statute. I want you guys to know he's really going to be hit under number 3 or number 4 here, but you have to read number 2 because number 3 here under the distribution of false video products, the deepfake law, Article 14.2, Article 3 here says a person who commits a crime under paragraph 2 by means and information of communication networks against the will of the subject, Bong Bong and Youngman, and making profits, he was streaming and making money, shall be punished by imprisonment with labor for not more than 7 years. It also says somebody who habitually commits this can have it aggravated. So that's a big one as well. So he's going to be charged under 3 or 4 here, but this one, he obviously made profit, and we got to read paragraph 2 to find out, okay, what does it describe the crime as? Well, what's the crime? Does it say a person who makes a deepfake? No, it actually doesn't say that, although it does have in another statute in number 1, a person who edits it, synthesizes, or process. But number 2, it says a person who has published. The only thing that's important to the crime is that he put it on screen. And because he has now confessed, he put it on screen in the eyes of the judge and the prosecutor. It's done. It's a shut case. It's over, baby. He's just admitted to it. Now, he's entitled to his right to fight back. He can question the witnesses. And we're going to talk about the witnesses in a second because that was a whole other loss for Somali. But at this point, we have him dead to rights on this crime, which is what I predicted. And I've been saying for the past almost year when I've been talking about the deepfake crime, saying, hey, look, it doesn't matter what his excuses are. It doesn't matter who Bong Bong is or Youngman is or whether they're bad people. Youngman, one of the streamers who is the cause for one of the deepfakes, is in jail right now. So clearly he's done some bad things, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is Johnny published a deepfake of Youngman and Johnny published a deepfake of Bong Bong. That's it. That's all. So let's continue here. There was a huge loss, once again, another disaster regarding the witnesses. So Ramsey's lawyer was fighting tooth and nail not to allow the deepfake witnesses. He did not want those deepfake witnesses to come in. That would have been disastrous for him in his mind. Well, the prosecution argued that since Ramsey admits distribution but denies production, the witnesses have to be allowed. They must be allowed for arguing back about the production. The judge sided immediately with the prosecution and allowed the witnesses. Said, no. If you're still fighting this, if you're still pleading not guilty, we're going to allow the witnesses. Now, Ramsey's lawyer went beyond that. So once again, another overrule trying to get rid of him. Now Ramsey's lawyer said, okay, I want extended cross-examination. Instead of the standard 15-minute cross-examination of each witness, I want 25 minutes. The judge denied Ramsey's request. Guys, this is massive. In Korean procedure, in discussing this with lawyers and people experienced with the process, this almost never happens. Typically, if they request this, they give it. This is the judge telling Ramsey to cope and seethe.
I mean, it's just like what I said. He knows time is up. He knows that he's not going back to America for a long, and I mean very long time. Since right here, the next trial date is October 29th. So for the next 2 months, he's going to be stranded in Korea once again, which is good. I don't think he should come back to the US. I don't think he should be anywhere else that is in South Korea. So I'm glad he's going to be there. I'm glad he's going to continue to suffer. And I'm glad he's going to continue to, you know, get exactly what he fucking deserves. But with that said, what do you guys think about the situation? Are you guys as happy as I am? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the Patreon link in the description below. Patreon people saw it first, they saw it earlier, so if you want that and extra content, make sure you check it out. Link in the description below. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And with that said, Oscar Sensitive Society just left the virtual building. All right, bye.